report back to us. Now, is there a Maureen Hill in the group? Is she with you? Maureen Hill? No? Okay. She might be both. They were practicing. You ready? Yep. All right. I will call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is the pledge, so if I can ask the Antioch ambassador to lead us. Appreciate it. Isabel, would you vote?
Ms. Nixon? Yes. Ms. Pritchard? Here. Mr. Sobczak?
Here.
Mr. Pagney?
Here.
Ms. Jacobs?
She will be late, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes.
Ms. Dixon? Here. Ms. Carroll? Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you. Government students, we have to have 4 of our members present or we don't hold a meeting. There was only 7, even though this table is full of people, there's only 7 board members. So if only 3 show up, we can chit-chat, but we can't hold a business meeting. Jot that down, and I'll make sure that Mrs. Walsh asks you a question. All right, I'll begin with a statement. Bullying, harassment, racism, sexism, and hate speech have no place in Community High School District 117. Community High School District 117 is committed to creating a rich, equitable, and respectful learning environment for all. We believe in our mission statement, which is ignite passion and discovery in every student. We'll continue to develop ways to extend the thinking, learning, and the opportunities for all of our students, our staff, and our families. To that end, it's critically important that we are explicit in stating that bullying, harassment, racism, sexism, and hate speech of any and all kinds are not acceptable and have no place in our district. Please work with us to discourage, report, and address these hurtful behaviors. The next item on our agenda is the opportunity for the public to make comments. The opportunity to speak to the board is provided for members of the public who have a comment to make about the business of the board. The board appreciates hearing from stakeholders and values your thoughts and questions. The board strives to make the best decisions for the district, and public input is always very helpful. The board must protect the civility and decorum of this meeting. Please be respectful of the duties of the board and the democratic process in your comments tonight. Please state your name and address your comments to the board. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please be factual and courteous, and the board requests that you not make statements that are personally disrespectful or condescending to members of the board or to our staff. To the extent there may be multiple speakers addressing a single issue, I reserve the right to limit the number of speakers making public comment of a repetitive nature and/or limit the time allowed for that public comment. The board does not respond to comments or attempt to answer questions during the public comment period. Would anyone care to make any public comments? If not, and seeing no one stepping forward, we will begin with our presentations, beginning with athletics.
Yeah, so it's my honor to introduce 2 of our most tireless working administrators. I thank them for another late night with the board. They were laughing. They're like, this is an early night for us. So thank you, Mr. Mike Maloney from Antioch and Matt Reif from Lakes Community High School. So thanks for your time tonight.
All right, thank you, Dr. Foyt. Good evening, everybody. I would be remiss if I didn't start with gratitude and appreciation on behalf of the student athletes and coaches of Antioch Community High School and Lakes Community High School for all the ongoing support the District 117 District Administration and Board of Education continues to infuse into our programs. Our student athletes have a wonderful outlet to live out their passions in the competitive education-based environment, and that's directly due to your ongoing support, so we appreciate that. It's hard to believe that it's been another year of Antioch Seacoast athletics. It certainly was action-packed since last winter, so we're going to do a little bit kind of a year in review in a can here for you to give you a 10,000-foot view of all the great accomplishments our Seacoists are experiencing in the fields of play in the arenas. Last year was our first year of girls wrestling, historic year for them. The program has grown tremendously. At open house last night, 2 nights ago, we had 41 incoming freshmen sign their name as having interest in girls wrestling. That is exponential growth from the very beginning. Last year we had 4 all-conference selections. These are all varsity accomplishments, and 4 sectional qualifiers in girls wrestling. Our historically successful boys wrestling program enjoyed 7 all-conference selections. We also hosted IHSA regionals. We're very proud to continue to feature our community by hosting postseason tournaments and contests so that our student athletes have the opportunity to compete at a high level in front of their home crowd. Those state qualifiers for the boys are listed on our presentation. Our dance was successful on an individual basis in which we had 3 all-conference selections. In our competitive cheerleading season last winter, we had 4 all-conference selections and 2 all-state selections. So Kaylee Painter and Leilani Saldana are still cheering in college now as freshmen, and were all-state selections last year. Our boys basketball program had 2 NLCC all-conference selections, and we hosted the IHSA sectional tournament in boys basketball here at Antioch Community High School. Our girls basketball team also had 2 all-conference selections and 1 all-state selection in Heidi Rathman. We do have a shared team in the winter with Lakes Community High School, and that is our D117 boys bowling Seagulls. Last year was their 2nd season of competition. There was tons of improvement. They ended their season at the regional level, but we are hosting IHSA regionals for the first time ever at Antioch. It's going to be at Lakes Bowl in Round Lake, and this year we have more Lakes bowlers than we do Antioch bowlers, which was kind of a coin flip from last year. So that continues to be in flux as to what school is most involved in that program, but we're sure proud of our boys bowling program. Our girls bowling was a little bit more successful altogether. They were sectional qualifiers as a team, and Abby Lisak was a state qualifier as an individual. Moving on to the spring for the Seacoites, our baseball team had 5 all-conference selections, and we hosted IHSA regionals in that sport as well. The NLCC Player of the Year was Evan Schmidt, so he was the best of the best as far as our Northern Lake County baseball players. Girls soccer enjoyed 2 all-conference selections. During the boys tennis season, we hosted the NLCC conference tournament. I believe Lakes hosted the sectional tournament. So we do in tennis and boys and girls season, because of our awesome tennis complex, we tend to rotate season to season who hosts conference and who hosts IHSA sectionals. Our boys track and field team had 31 all-conference selections, and we were state qualifiers in the 4x100 and 4x400 relays. Those relay teams are listed there. Outstanding individuals were Carson Lanners, who was all-state in the 800-meter run, and Brandon Marks, who's all-state in the 300-meter hurdles. Our girls track team won the conference in indoor season and enjoyed 33 all-conference selections. 2 outstanding seniors last year were Rosie Gonzalez, who's running right now cross-country and track at Ball State. She was a NLCC champion in 2 separate events, a state qualifier in the 3,200-meter run. Sydney Walker qualified for state in the high jump, and she's an outstanding athlete as well. Our boys volleyball team had 3 all-NLCC selections, and our boys lacrosse team also had 3 all-NLCC selections, including Noah Briner, who was the conference goalkeeper of the year. To kind of set the standard for spring competition, our softball team continues to be exceptional. It has been for a very long time. Numerous accolades, NLCC champions, IHSA regional champions, IHSA sectional champions, and super sectional qualifiers. We also hosted regionals. Sam Hillner was an All-American, which is obviously a huge honor. All-region, all-state, and all-area. Tegan Schuyler was all-region, all-state, all-area. Claire Schuyler was all-state and all-area. Addie Webb was all-state and all-area. And Alina Matarai was all-area. So that, along with 7 all-conference selections, is a testament to the hard work of our Lady Seacoites on the diamond. After a long summer of preparation, we're back at it this fall, and a little wrap-up on some of the historic accomplishments. Our golf teams both competed at a pretty high level. individual and team competitions, we face a lot of the North Suburban teams that are pretty phenomenal golf teams, as well as our competitors over at Lakes. On the boys' side, we had 3 all-conference selections, and 2 sectional qualifiers, and on the girls' side, we had 3 all-conference selections. In tennis, we had 6 all-conference selections on the girls' side, and we hosted IHSA sectionals. In cross-country, Carson Landers was back at it this fall as an all-state qualifier in cross-country, and qualified for the state race down in Peoria. Football had 10 all-conference selections. We hosted a round 1 playoff game here at Antioch Stadium, and Owen Shea was a standout honoree with all-state honors, as well as the conference defensive player of the year. Our flag football team, from its very inception, just like our sister Eagles over there, are very, very successful, very, very competitive. The Sequoias this year were regional champions, sectional champions, and qualified for the state series, falling to Whitney Young in the semifinals, or quarterfinals. We had 2 all-state selections, which are sponsored by the Chicago Bears. Tanner Ludwig, our quarterback, and Reese Queensland, who is a receiver and safety for us. Boys soccer had 1 all-conference honoree. Girls volleyball had 2 all-conference selections. And our field hockey, which doesn't play IHSA sanctioned, but we have a parallel organization called the Illinois High School Field Hockey Association. So they select all-conference honorees, and we were fortunate enough to get 2 honorees and play in a playoff game against Loyola. And that wraps up the one kind of year in review for the Sequoias. I'll turn it over to my partner in crime, Matt Reif.
Thank you, Mike. And before I get started with my portion, I would just like to echo what Mike said. I think this past weekend we were able to host the All of the Lights Cheer and Dance Invitational on Saturday and Sunday. So, student athletes from a lot of schools were here with 104 cheer routines and 68 dance routines. And many from places, much bigger schools with larger tax bases and things like that. And when those students come into our school, our districts, our area, they are blown away. Like they don't have what we have, and it's really cool for our kids to see that and appreciate that much more than maybe they would otherwise. So again, to echo Mike, thank you to everybody in this room for all of the support behind the scenes to allow our kids to have this much success. So thank you very much. When we rewind to last winter, we'll start here with girls wrestling. Last year we had 5 all-conference team members, and Josie Larson was a state champion. She was 29-0 with all 29 were pins, 27 of those were in the first period. So she had a tremendous season. She was also part of the inaugural team state championship the year before. So definitely someone who left that legacy behind. She's wrestling now Division I at Sacred Heart University, and she's doing a heck of a job. So very proud of Josie Larson. On the boys' side on the mats, we had 2 all-conference team members and 2 sectional qualifiers. Dance had 2 NLCC selections. Cheer had 3 NLCC selections. Boys basketball had 1. Girls bowling were the regular season and tournament conference champions. They won the regional as well, which I don't think I included here. That was the 3rd regional in a row that they had won. Girls basketball had 1 all-conference team member and our D117 co-op. As Mike mentioned, boys bowling is housed here at Antioch. Girls gymnastics is housed at Lakes. So our Seagulls last year had 1 sectional qualifier, and she qualified in all 4 events. So that was very good, especially because we're on the road all the time because we've got to get gym space to get everybody ready and all of those little things. But it worked out really well. It's just nice to see both schools working so well together. So that was our winter of 2024, winter 2025. As we got to spring, our baseball team had 2 all-conference team members. Girls soccer had 7, and they won conference as well. Also won the regional. Boys tennis had 6 all-conference team members, hosted sectionals. Boys track and field won the outdoor NLCC championship by half a point over Grant High School. 17 all-conference team members. I've listed the state qualifiers as well as all-state pole vaulter Wilmer Cure. Girls track and field had 13 all-conference team members, and Michaela Williams was the lone state qualifier for the ladies. Boys volleyball had 3 all-conference team members. Boys lacrosse had 4, boys lacrosse had 4, and we were NLCC co-champions as well. This past fall, between Lakes and Antioch, boys and girls golf, it was a battle quite often, as Mike mentioned. But our boys and girls teams were fortunate enough to both take first place in the conference tournament, both also having the conference champion medalist. For the boys, Brady Cross, who went on to take 6th at state, and Ava Swearingen on the girls' side, conference champion as well. So that's really, really cool on the links for us. Again, fortunate to have the access to the facilities and the resources that we do. Girls tennis, 2 all-conference team members, and we did host sectionals this past fall. Boys cross country, we hosted sectionals as well for girls and boys cross country. Cooper Summy, our 1 all-conference runner and state qualifier on the boys' side. Maddie Schrader, a freshman, qualified for sectionals, as did the entire team. She was one of 5 all-conference team members. Flag football, we're NLCC champions. We had the NLCC Defensive Player of the Year, Talia Dewey, and an all-state quarterback, Maddie Lohr. In tackle football, we had 9 all-conference team members qualified for the playoffs, and 98.3 WRLR recognized Coach Jason Ellerman as the area coach of the year for the success this season. Boys soccer had 4 all-conference team members. Girls volleyball had 4 all-conference team members and 1 conference. So from the winter to the spring, through the summer and the fall, both at Antioch and Lakes, busy for sure, successful for sure, and we're just appreciative of, again, everybody in the room for giving us that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very impressive. I don't know how you keep track. Any questions or comments from board members? Thanks
I would
again.
just ask for one bonus question, and we didn't prepare this in advance. You had so many accomplishments, we had to pack your 10 minutes of slides with accomplishments, but if there's one thing that you attribute the success to, that you leverage going forward to continue to improve, what would you describe as a driving factor of all success?
I think both buildings had a large amount of adults that are here for the right reasons, to help kids and to give them opportunities. I think the best example is girls flag football. 2 years ago, it didn't even exist, and now in the district, there's nearly 100 athletes. We've got flags hanging on the walls, we've got everything, and we've got kids competing in the summer and in college, and I think it's just good, solid adults in front of our kids. And that's why both of us are choosing to send our kids through.
I would echo those sentiments. It's tireless dedication on behalf of the coaches who have a very thankless job and sacrifice a lot of time from their own families to pour into our student athletes, as well as a strong feeling of connection to the community. I believe that our Seacoites are very proud to represent Antioch, and we've always taken on that kind of underdog role when facing the rest of the state that might have larger populations or more resources. So that's what I would chalk that up to. But again, your support is completely appreciated by everyone.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Keep up the good work. It's great. It's fantastic.
Thank you. And continuing our theme of jobs that are major work commitment, take tireless, dedicated people to do them, we have Amber Cornelius, and also want to thank Terry Klodnick, her counterpart at Antioch Community High School. She has a pretty major family commitment tonight, so we appreciate Amber being here to share your work.
All right. Thank you so much for listening, and I kind of want to echo what Mike and Matt were saying. The commitment of our school board to allowing our students to have the extracurricular experiences that they do is incredible. Our kids can compete in so many things. We have so many opportunities outside of the classroom, and those opportunities make our students more well-rounded, happier, healthier, better individuals. So I really appreciate your commitment to allowing those activities to happen. So first of all, just wanted to shout out our mascots for a second. This is Ozzy and the Cardinal Crazy. Both of these costumes are new in the last year and a half or so. So we're excited just to have like these beautiful, beautiful mascots that can represent our schools at sporting events, at public events, and they're buddies. I love that. So today we are going to learn a little bit about the program offerings that we have. I do have some data that I like to share with you specifically in regards to one of our school board goals, our 100% participation goal. So we've got some data on sports and we've also got some data on clubs and activities. And then we're going to talk about some challenges that are associated with that data collection and also some celebrations that we have. So, a little bit of that data piece. We went through all of our fall sports and all of our winter sports and our spring sports, and you can see how many sports we offer, how many athletes are participating in those by season, and you can see that the numbers are staying pretty static-ish. We've had a slight decrease in the number of students involved across the district in our sports. Again, a slight decrease, but not anything that's super substantial. Obviously, we don't have data yet for spring. We'll be having that in the upcoming months. But we've increased the number of sports that we've had with the advent of girls' flag, so we're doing great things with that. Clubs and activities. The data for this is a little bit interesting. You might look at some of those numbers and say, like, we don't have that many students in the district. You're right. It's because as a student athlete, you can't really compete in more than one sport during a season. If you're involved in clubs and activities, the world is your oyster. You can join as many as there are days of the week, and because most clubs meet twice a month, you could be at a different club, like literally every day if you wanted to. We do have clubs that meet, like literally every day you can go to something different. We have club meetings Monday through Friday. We have competitive activities that are meeting also during all of that time. So when we compile our data and we pull our data from Infinite Campus where we're registering our students as a 9th hour, it's not disaggregating like this individual number of students are involved. It tells us how many students have been registered in clubs and activities across the board. So you might have a student who's involved in 4, 5, 6 things, and it's counting them for each thing that they're involved in. So like take my son, for example. I'm another community parent. He's in marching band, he's in pep band, he's in pit band, he's in German club, he's in ski club. Each one of those counts for those numbers. So you can see our numbers from last year. It's gone down a little bit this year, but that's because we don't have all of our data in yet. We have some activities that only happen in the spring, so bass fishing hasn't started yet. We don't have those numbers. We have theater productions that we don't have numbers for yet because those happen in the spring. So we're not expecting an actual decrease in total participation across the board. We just don't have the complete data set yet. We are still hovering around 80% engagement. And just as a reminder, and for our students here who are visiting from government class, the district has tasked us with having 100% of students involved in a sport or a club or a competitive activity or attending 3 events. That's like 100%, that is a very, very lofty goal. We acknowledge that. So we wanted to take a look at where we're at and what are some barriers to engagement that we have. So first of all, we're excited that we're still hovering around 80%. We obviously want to increase that. We've identified some barriers that students are experiencing. Some kids are saying they've got jobs where they can't be doing things in school because they have to do things outside. Club sports are huge. We have a lot of students who are playing hockey for the Lakers, or who are involved in competitive cheer, or competitive ice skating. So they're very involved in doing something that's filling up their cup. It just doesn't happen to be tied to District 117 extracurriculars. Same thing with outside activities. It might not be a competitive thing. I interviewed a student whose dad runs sound for this amazing technical thing. So he's always working with his dad, doing sound and lighting and DJ stuff. So that's really big for him. It's just not tied to D117. There's also family and cultural obligations. So that's preventing kids from getting involved in our stuff. A lot of kids cited Tech Campus as a barrier for them. They're so involved in what they're doing at Tech Campus. They get back kind of late, and by the time they get back, they're kind of like, you know, I just can't get to a club or activity or sport. I can't do it. And then, of course, there are some kids who are just not interested. They've said, you know what, I don't want to join a sport. I'm not athletic. Don't want to join a club. There's not really anything that's interesting to me. those kids are probably going to some events, but not the 3 that the district requires to be counted as full participation. So we'll have a kid who might go to homecoming and might go to a football game, but you're not at 3, so they're not considered engaged. We also have a fair amount of students who are in our schools after school, so you could argue that they're feeling that sense of community, they're liking where they're at, they're interacting with other students, they just aren't doing it in a formal way. So at Antioch, they have homework hangouts, where there are kids who go not necessarily, I mean, they do homework, but they chit chat, and they're there to be social, they just don't want to be social at a structured club or anything like that. At Lakes, we have the ping pong table. This was gifted to us by our student council last year. We have kids who will hang out and play ping pong every day after school. They're being social, they're liking being in the building, they're not part of a club or an activity. So in a lot of ways, our schools are functioning as sort of that third space, where it's not home, it's not work, it's a place where people can build community, but it's just not structured. We did some more data collection. We talked to the other schools in the NLCC to see where they're at in terms of their participation. You can see from the schools that we were able to get data from, we're doing great. I'm very proud of that number. We've worked really, really hard for that number. So when you compare us to our peer schools, we are, like I said, doing really, really well. Terry Klodnick and I are also members of the Illinois Directors of Student Activities, so we're actually both on the executive board for that. And that's activities directors from across the state of Illinois, but largely focused in Lake and Cook counties. We asked them for their data, and you can see that there are some schools that are positively blowing it out of the water. Those are your really competitive schools, so like Lake Forest is at 94.1%. Stevenson is at 93%. Deerfield is in the mid-90s. Some of that is because of how competitive those schools are. I admit I'm a Stevenson alum. Everybody I knew was in a club or a sport or something because you needed to make sure, like, hey, I need this really impressive resume for college. Part of it is also how they track data. Every school has their own definition of what engagement means. So some schools said that they were tracking things like participating in spirit days for homecoming. So if you dressed up for a spirit day, bam, that's a point. Some schools were saying instead of having to be at 3 events, 1 event counts. So if you went to the homecoming dance, bam, you've met that mark. So because everybody has a slightly different definition of what engagement is, the data doesn't always mean exactly the same thing. Also, a lot of the schools that have those truly amazing participation numbers are using a tool to collect their data that we're not currently using. The gold standard is a program called 5-Star. It allows them to get more robust data tracking, and that's how they're able to kind of get those really robust numbers. Speaking of tracking participation, we looked at how we're gathering our data. This is a lot on tech. Our tech department they have done so much work to help us lift this, and we really appreciate that. We're scanning in IDs at a lot of events. So we're scanning in IDs at football games. Sometimes we're scanning at non-football games. We scanned in at some basketball games, not all of them. We're trying to scan in at some theater performances. We've tried to scan in at some concerts. We're doing really good at scanning in at student council events and dances. We don't tally spirit days. And at Antioch, we have some survey data that they've collected. So we've got those LEADS projects where we've got some teachers who are working on different administrative projects during a release period. The teacher at Antioch, Megan McDonald, who's working on this as part of her LEADS project, has gathered some survey data about what Antioch students are doing that is considered involvement where maybe we weren't able to get them on those scanners. So, with that, we acknowledge that there have been some challenges with this. We know that the current methods of data collection can be cumbersome and unwieldy. I need to find people who are able to attend events to scan IDs, or I have to be there to scan IDs. Sometimes it's hard to even pin the kids down to get them like, hey, no, I need your ID, we need to scan you in. Our current reporting system provides us with a post-mortem instead of live data. So it's sort of after the event or after we have a chance to like really sit down and look at the numbers. We don't always know in real time who's engaged and who's not. So that makes it hard to have those conversations with kids to say like, hey, what are you doing? How can we get you involved in something? We also have a lot of student interest in starting new clubs that doesn't necessarily align with gaps in participation. I will have students coming to me who are already involved in like 5 different clubs who are like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we started this other new club? And yes, it would, but like that's not helping me meet that goal because you're already involved. And I'm so glad that you found things that spark your interest, but we need to make sure that we're hitting everybody. To that end though, we have started several new clubs in the last few years. Our Black Student Union, our Los Sequoias Latinos, our South Asian Student Association. So all of those are really speaking to populations that we have not necessarily served in the past, and those clubs have been tremendously successful. Lakes Women in Leadership is another relatively new club, tremendously successful. So we are tapping into some of that. And again, that definition of engagement, because it's different depending on what school you're at, what district you're at, that can be tricky. If a kid goes to 2 events, can we say that they're engaged? Can we say that they're not engaged? That's what our current definition is. It's an interesting question though. So with that being said, I do want to brag a little bit about all the cool things that we've got going on. These are just some pictures from all sorts of events that we've had going on. Antioch brought in some BMX bikers for a really cool assembly. Lakes, I'm so incredibly proud of this. We were able to gather over 100 toys in a toy drive in like 3 weeks that were then donated to the Salvation Army, and we got to be on TV. It was really cool. That came from my clubs and activities. My esports team won the state IHSEA Mario Kart championship. So incredibly proud of them. We've had our dances. We've had all sorts of great things going on. Our BSU has been really popular. We've got our Eagle Pals and our Sequoia Sidekicks. Both schools have started hosting a big game. So we're really excited about that and just that increasing of diversity and inclusion. We've both started hosting an Inclusion Week. That's incredibly important. Last year, both schools sent teams to IHSA State for chess. Both schools sent teams to state for math team. Both schools sent students to compete in FCCLA at state. Antioch sent bass fishing down to state. So we're doing all sorts of great things. So I just wanted to brag on us for a moment. And then Terry and I both really look forward to being part of the strategic plan this year. We can't wait to be in those meetings and talk about how we move student engagement farther and just see what we can do about it and what the community thinks is how we should be measuring this and what we can do with this. Any questions?
Quite impressive.
We got a lot going on. It's so much fun now.
If we go back a decade or so, there was no such thing as focusing on student engagement. And that's not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we've come a long way, and I'm impressed with 80%, and we know it's probably better than that, but it's not bad.
I'm delighted when I look at the numbers and see where we are in terms of our peer schools. I'm so incredibly proud of that work that we're doing, and I think the fact that we're being so targeted about it speaks a lot to us. When we make those decisions and we're intentional in our work, we can do really great things.
I just love too the fact that at the schools, some kids are willing to just hang out and just hang out. It's like a safe place for them that we've created and, it's not engagement per se, but they're not busting out the doors to get out. I don't want to be here anymore, it's great.
Well, and to what Mike and Matt were saying, it's those relationships. We have so intentionally worked on creating positive relationships with our students. They know that our schools are safe places. They know that our schools are places where people support them and want good things for them.
For so many kids, sports and clubs and things are the reason they stay in school. Because it provides, as you said, a safe place, plus a challenge and an activity for them to
thanks for a great presentation, and thanks for the little post-it in the middle that said D117 is better together.
We are.
I like that.
We
Yeah, I do
100%
too,
are.
yeah. For sure.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Amber.
I appreciate your attention.
Ryan's going to kick off our next presentation here. Mr.
All right.
Miles.
For those of you in the audience who don't know me, my name's Ryan Miles. I'm the tech director for the district. It's my pleasure to introduce two of our deans to talk about school safety tonight. Dean at Lakes, Mr. Kurt Ronstadt, and our Dean at Antioch, Mr. Kurt Sully. So with that, I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you, and I know it's just Mr. Sully and myself that are presenting, but the other two deans who couldn't be here right now definitely do help us out quite a bit in everything that we do. It is not an island, it is a community that helps, including all of you guys, the students. There needs to be buy-in from everybody, the way we do our ALICE trainings and all those kinds of things. So I do appreciate everything that we are doing. Okay, you're on. All right, so we are and have been an ALICE certified district since we started using ALICE. I want to say like 8 years ago. We've consistently done that, which means we have 75% or more of the staff members that have completed the training module, the online, as well as going through and doing the ALICE drills that are listed on here, as well as when we've done those. It takes a lot to do that. It's not very intensive, which is always nice. They've changed it over the years. I know when ALICE first came out, it was very, it was tough on a lot of people, socially, emotionally, and they had transitioned that to help with making it more comfortable for everyone to learn and go through the ALICE program. We do use Navigate quite a bit. We use it for several things. There's an educational piece to it, like I just talked about. We also use it for reunification. We use it for the attendance piece when we go out and do our drills, so that whole thing is intuitive. All of our safety manuals are loaded up into there. Everything is kind of housed right there in the Navigate EMS. We use it, like I said, for the educational component. We use it for our threat assessments, so it is a hub for a lot of things that we do use. Training of new staff, every year we do, any new staff member does get trained within the first, I would say, 3 or 4 weeks of us starting school. With that, we do have a policy, the state has a policy that within the first 90 days, we need to do some sort of intruder drill. So that's why we always do it early as we can, so we can get everybody up to snuff and on par with everything. And that's what it says up there. We have, since Ryan took over, we've had several safety huddles district-wide, which includes all of Howe at both Lakes and Antioch, the SROs from both Lakes and Antioch, administration at both Lakes and Antioch, and some district personnel. So it is quite a lift on Ryan to do all that, but getting together and talking about what we're doing, what needs to get improved and things like that really does help. So I do appreciate that. One of the other things is our safety partnerships. I kind of mentioned them a little bit with the Lakeville Police Department, the Antioch Police Department. We do have SROs in our buildings, and we do lean on them quite a bit, and we utilize each other for information and just helpfulness on, hey, what do you think about this and that kind of stuff. So, and I do know at both schools, the SROs do go over and talk with, like, driver's ed, might go into government courses and talk to them about those things. So they do utilize the SROs quite a bit for things like that. I know they do. They're always up front with us at Lakes. I know they're at one of the entrances for Antioch as well. So they are highly visible and seen all the time. We do have Howe, and we've enjoyed Howe for a good long time. We have 6 at Lakes, 6 at Antioch, and they do a tremendous amount of work. They are here from 5:45 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night when everyone goes. It's not the same person, mind you, but they are staggered throughout the day. But they're always here, and they have a ton of overtime working all the events that you guys just saw presented between activities and athletics. So all of those, they're 99% out of 100, there's a Howe person that is helping work the doors on those. So we do appreciate them as well. We talked about the first responders with Antioch, Lake Villa. We also have Lynn Lindenhurst Police Department that we have a good relationship with, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the fire department as well as the rescue. So we do use them, and they're great when they come up. The Lake County Sheriff's is also another one because we're not just all in the town. So we do have the 5 numbers house, so that is county, and so we do have a good relationship with the Lake County Sheriff's Department as well. We use them sometimes to bring the dogs in to come to the school and even out into the parking lot sometimes. I'm going to skip down a little bit and go to Interquest, since I brought up dogs. We use Interquest, and those are the dogs that go through the parking lot, smell, and they even come into the, not bathrooms, into the school, thank you, and even the locker rooms, and we'll just sniff around. If anything does hit, we talk to the students and the parents and let them know.
Those are the cute dogs, not the...
Those are the fluffy ones, those are, yes. We do have a good relationship with Lake County Row. They have really pushed a safety collaboration, not just with District 117, but it is across all of Lake County, and it's fantastic. They keep working on it and strengthening it. You have the stop it notifications. Well, you guys don't have it, but we have them in case there's a situation that is not on District 117 property, but one of our surrounding schools or even feeder schools. It lets us know that there's a situation going on if they reported something. So
The
that's
board will recall that you approved this memorandum of understanding last year for us to doing that countywide security.
right. And so we're strengthening that a little bit more, and we'll be going to this LC Smart, which is I Love You Guys. If you don't know what that is, it's a good reunification program that has started. And I know I've been to a couple of them, and a lot of people are transitioning to that for the reunification piece because it is very well ran if you do it properly. We do have Blue Point. If you guys look here, there's a Blue Point full station over here. They are strategically placed around both schools, and that is for our intruders. So if there's a situation, you can pull that Blue Point will light up. It lights up all around the school. There's certain things that happen, like the electromagnetics actually close the doors, and they should be locked. So it does kind of house people into one location and makes it more difficult for that intruder to move around the building. That being said, that also goes out and pushes, it can go to the stop it and also goes to what's called the emergency 24, which alerts everybody in the area. And then some, that there's an active shooter or a violent person in Lake Scorania Community High School. So it's a fantastic quick response program. We already talked about the Navigate 360 suite, so I don't want to bring that back up again. And coming soon, and Ryan's going to talk about this in a little more detail, is the 911 Inform. We are looking at another option for Navigate, which is, if it works as shown, it is more intuitive than Navigate is. Mr. Sulin?
Yeah, hi. So I'm going to kind of talk through a little bit of something that I think, a lot of this is important, but I think the key piece to keep in mind is a student body. We have great students at Lakes and Antioch. The students at both schools, there's a lot of buy-in that goes on their part in terms of taking these serious, taking the drill serious, understanding what their role is. We've really kind of talked about see something, say something. I think, the fact that the students feel comfortable coming to the dean's office or student services to report something if something is not going right or there is something that might be off, they're really good about reporting it. And that also helps to make both buildings safe. And one of the things that we utilize is we take panorama surveys quite frequently in both buildings. And one of the questions that is asked of the students is about safety and security. We have seen a gradual increase since 2018. So since 2018, the sentiment within our student population, and I would also echo within our staff population, is they are feeling more safe, they are feeling more secure. And as I said, that is something that is vitally important. I don't think anybody truly understands the lift with safety and security that does take place. And, I know everybody's saying thank you to you guys. I want to thank the students first and foremost, because without them, we wouldn't have the safety and security that we have in this building. So the student body is truly something amazing and is something that has made District 117 a safe and special place. But I also want to thank Ariane Heron, our Ms. Herron has given us the ability to implement certain things to make the district safe. Without her ability to listen and help us in implementing certain things, we wouldn't have all the great things that we have. And then she brings it to all of you, and all of you have listened and heard what she is saying and what we're saying to make District 117 a safe place. So I just want to say thank you, and I want to thank the student body as well for all of their efforts.
And that data shows that our students feel safer than the national data set. That blue bubble is the national data, and we're towards the right, so that's great.
And the IT guys standing up here with these gentlemen, oddly, but not so oddly, I mean, our safety systems are becoming more and more technical as we progress into the ages here. And I'm just kind of an add-on to the team, more interlocking elbows so that we're more in tune with some of these higher level systems. Some of them are aging. You can see some of the years of each of these systems. And we're gonna talk a little bit about addressing some of that in the future. But we have great student device safety. We do have great facilities and great communications. Good alarm systems. One of the newest things that Kurt was talking about, our 911 Inform. This is our E911 platform, and we have a new geofence that's going to go live next month. It's a 911 geofence. So students, if you're participating in cross country or you're practicing on the football fields that are kind of far distance from the field, you can kind of see our new geofences here. And so if you dial 911 from a cell phone, the 911 operator will have this map, this exact map, and a dot will be on the map of where you called. So increasing their awareness of where you're at, and just a real neat technology feature that hasn't been available very long, and we're signing up for that. And at the end of February, we'll be online, we'll be armed. And so, giving those operators, it could be seconds, could be minutes extra time to get to a person, getting there quicker. So, I mentioned some aging systems and some future safety considerations, but first I wanted to take a moment. Mr. Sulik can talk about some rapid deployment planning.
Yeah, so, Mr. Onset mentioned this earlier. We are very fortunate. We have a great working relationship with our local law enforcement between Lindenhurst, Lake Villa, Antioch, the county. Antioch has approached us, and they are very interested in coming in and doing a rapid deployment exercise. That way, one, it would familiarize themselves with the layout of their building, how their practices work, so we kind of give them an idea of how, in the event there was an emergency, they could come in. There will be other agencies possibly involved, but how they would enter the building, how they would sweep the building, and all that stuff. There's conversations doing that sometime in the spring. This spring, when school's not in session, because there's a lot that goes into it, and we can't do it when everybody's here. But that is something that is beneficial to them, but it's also beneficial to us. And, once again, it's due to the partnership that we have created with our local law enforcement.
And I've watched the communications go back and forth, and I want to thank Dr. Berry for taking the leadership role of making sure these things are capable in our busy schedules, our facilities being used. So thank you, Dr. Berry, for stepping in and being a good voice for that. But it doesn't happen. These things don't happen without good leaders that are standing beside me and sitting around this table. It really doesn't. When we're looking forward to improving some of our aging systems, we're looking at a COPS grant application for the upcoming summer. Those get awarded in the winter of 2020, the winter of 2026, November, December timeframe. We've met with the grant writer, talked through some of our strategy of how to write the grant for our benefit. He thinks that we have a good chance of getting that, and it's a 75% match. So we put up 25%, and the Fed puts it's up 75%, up to $500,000. So we're going to be looking into that for some of these things that are listed here with communications, phones, radios, and a few things on the interior for locks and various things around the building. So a lot of things going on for improvement, constant improvement. We can always improve in some of these areas, and we're going to keep going. So we really can't do this. We're a safer school system together. This isn't everyone thing. This isn't just the 3 people up here talking to you thing, or a few leaders at the table. It takes the kids to be vigilant. It takes our adults to really take it seriously, and we appreciate all the support we get. What questions might you have?
First off, I'm incredibly impressed with how proactive you guys are on systems and procedures, and I'm very excited to see you do this. And on the rapid deployment, you mentioned Antioch. Would that be a joint office? Would they go in Lindenhurst, or would they do it first at Antioch and then to the others in? Or how would that rapid deployment exercise be shared with all 3 police?
So there's preliminary conversations going on right now, so a lot of the conversation is occurring with Commander Bonarotti from the Antioch Police Department and Commander Bersali. So they're kind of having the conversations right now, and then they're going to take it to the deputy chiefs to kind of work through that. One idea that we have right now is that they would utilize the 2nd floor, and they would work through the 2nd floor, and they would do a small scale with the hopes of eventually doing a larger scale rapid deployment. Due to the number of new officers that have been hired and so forth, this would give us an opportunity to get those officers in our building, understand where the boxes are, how to utilize those boxes, and then also how the layout of the building looks. So I think it's going to start off with kind of a smaller scale, but it is something that they're going to look at trying to build on eventually as well.
Ryan, for the benefit of our students and for some of our board members, would you define COPS so they don't misunderstand COPS?
Yeah, it's a federal program. It's for building safety, building protection. So police, fire can also do those grants. So our local police could apply for it, our local fire can apply for it, and local schools can apply for it. That's the root of how it works.
And we would put in 25% of the cost of that. The federal government then supplies the remaining 75%.
That's correct.
If we're granted.
If we're granted.
Yeah.
It stands for Community-Oriented Policing Services. I just Googled it.
There you
But
go.
the idea is that federal funds can be used to augment institutions in the community. So it's not just on the police to keep us safe. They can make the hospitals and schools and services in the community safer themselves.
We have come a long way with this. And it isn't because we wanted to, it's because we had to, unfortunately. And the fact that we're moving forward and continue looking at this is fabulous because it gives everybody peace of mind. Not only the people sitting in this room, but the people in the community who don't have kids in the school, who are just members of the community. It's important for everyone. So for the students, you're hearing presentations tonight that kind of give us, the board members, updates as to what's going on in the district. After their presentations, we'll actually get down to the business of the board. But you're hearing things that you don't hear on a day-to-day basis in the school, and this is important for you as well as us. So I thought, great presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Once again, it's the safety piece because it gets rid of that anxiety once kids actually stay in school, come to school, because they're safe. They're safe in school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on the agenda. And again, for the students, we don't interact with the public, but because this is a school and you are our students, I'm going to interact a little bit, which I've done with other students in government class. So, and of course, in Mrs. Walsh's class, she's going to ask you this question, probably tomorrow. So the next item is the consent agenda, and it's kind of, if you were to paraphrase this, it's kind of the government saying to us, we're going to give you the consent to just pass a bunch of stuff with just one motion, one vote. Otherwise, we have 30 or 40 or 50 different items that we have to vote on individually. And these are things that are considered routine. So this is the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda, and I'm telling them, not you, all items listed under the consent agenda are adopted by one motion unless a member of the Board of Education or the superintendent requests that an item be removed and voted upon separately. Consent agenda items are matters that the board and the superintendent agree are routine and in nature and should be voted on with one motion to conserve time. Tonight's items on the consent agenda would include approval of the regular meeting minutes from December 11th, 2025, approval of the closed session meeting minutes from December 11th, 2025, approval under the personnel report of hiring of certified staff, approval of hiring non-certified staff, approval of hiring long-term substitute staff, approval of hiring increment positions, approval of agreeing to volunteer positions, approval of any student teachers brought into the district, approval of any reclassifications of any of our personnel, approval of all resignations that have been given to us, approval of all retirements that have been asked for by the retiree, potential retiree, approval for all requests for extended leaves of absence, also approval of bills and payroll under Funds 10, Fund 20, Fund 40, Fund 50, and Fund 80. That's where it really gets long. And approval of the Freedom of Information Act request, which is called FOIA. We had 4 of those and they've been responded to. So rather than read every one of those things by name, by number, I'm going to recommend that the board approve all items under the consent agenda as presented, and I will ask for a motion to that effect. We have a motion by Mr. Pagney,
Second.
a second by Ms. Pritchard. And we will do a roll call vote, beginning with Ms. Ipson,
Yes.
Mr. Pagney,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Carroll, Ms. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs. Wayne Sopsett votes yes, that motion passes, and it saved us 4.5 hours. Now we move on to the business office.
I have 3 items for this evening. The first one being the second reading of the approval of the 26-27 fees. You may recall, I don't know about you, but it seems like December was a long time ago, our last meeting, but we did talk about the 26-27 fees for the students. We specifically talked about the recommendation that we discussed during the Facilities Finance Committee meeting, where we looked into taking the senior fee for the admission gates for athletics activities. So you're talking football, boys basketball, some wrestling, and then plays and musicals. So, and when looking at that data, you might recall that it would be not bringing in less than $5,000 in revenue. So there in the packet, you see the attachment of the fees, the proposed fees for next year. Everything's the same except again for looking at those gate fees of the athletics of 5 for adults, 3 for the non-District 117 students, and then again 0 for seniors, and then for the fine arts it'd be 7, 5, 0. So it is recommended to approve the 26-27 student fees as presented.
And with that recommendation, I would entertain a motion that the board approve the 26-27 student fees as presented. Motion by Ms. Dixon,
Second.
second by Mr. Pagney. Questions or comments?
You know I work at Waukegan, right?
Yes.
Our fine arts is a bargain, because I just saw the prices for the musical. It's $10 for adults and $8 for students and
Yeah.
seniors.
Yeah, I forgot to
Yeah.
bring them with me, but I think I mentioned last time NLCC and some of the surrounding schools
And I think
were
that
on
just
the
went up,
cheaper
because I
one.
don't remember it being that high. So we provide a bargain.
Yeah, I agree,
Other
especially
questions?
for what we're producing.
Exactly, because the quality of the shows
Yeah.
questions or comments? Hearing none, do a roll call vote beginning with Mr. Patney,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Ibsen,
Yes.
Wayne Sopsek votes yes, that motion passes.
The second item is just an annual housekeeping event in January, we always ask for your approval to stay in SCIP, which is the Suburban School Cooperative Insurance Pool. That program that we're a part of for this calendar year, along with approving the premiums for the casualty or property and liability insurance, and then also cyber insurance. So you can see there that the base premium increases, so again, for liability, property, so crime, our automobiles and such, school board legal, that increase is a 4.6%, which you can see over the last few years is the lowest it's been. It's just been a good year of claims for the 67 members that are in the SCIP co-op. And then cyber premium increases, that's a 20.4% increase. Not as large this year, but still increased. The big thing now, as you can imagine, is dealing, the big discussion was AI and what's happening in the world today, as we all know. So that's a 20.4% increase. One other thing that I just wanted to share, actually, I'm sorry, forgot I get this out of my, I do have another problem. This is three meetings in a row. It's like a hockey puck. I wanted to bring this to you guys as far as, one thing they discussed in the meeting, it was beginning of December, we always have 2 meetings, one in May, one in December, and they introduced this water sensor program. Looks like a hockey puck. I know some of you have these in your home, I've heard, where this is just obviously a sensor to sense any kind of problems with water. If it's too high, or we have a pipe break or whatever it may be, God forbid. But we are opting into this program. No additional fee as far as our increase, but not all schools, but we were able to opt in where we basically said this is the square footage of our buildings. They're going to send these pucks to us, hopefully here, they said January, February, so it should be sometime soon, so we can set these pucks up around the building. These is basically, they are Bluetooth, so then we can connect them to an application that we can have on our phones. So if something happens and it's the weekend, then it triggers, or anytime it triggers that there's water, and that we can come in and check things out. So they had shared some different stories with us, and I was talking with Chris about this earlier, that they shared a school district in Iowa that had over 400,000 gallons of water in their school. And they only knew about it, it happened on a weekend, they only knew about it because the fire marshal had been contacted saying that over 10% of their water had gone down in their water tower. So we don't want something like that to happen. That you have these, I mean, these pictures were unbelievable. They had a classroom that the teacher's desk was almost all the way under water. So, and we looked for like, how much is 400,000 gallons? It's several Olympic-sized swimming pools. So let's not have that.
I agree.
But where do these go in the building?
I'm assuming we'll put them around like different pipes or boilers, things like that, but they'll give, in the package they give us, they'll give us all that information. One thing we need to be strategic about is, in a way, hiding them,
Yes.
depending on,
Yes.
whether, access points, different things like that. So we'll know more when we get it, and I can share more information, but I'm hoping it comes soon. I had to give three contacts, so I gave, basically Ken Malinichek, our facilities director, and then both of our ATS leads, maintenance leads in both our buildings, Nate Sheffield and Tim Wilkes. So I feel that again, 67 members, they're always looking at different ways, a couple of years, you might recall the cyber, the different, cyber toolkit is what they called it, of the different things like going and doing the phishing and different things like that to make sure we're doing smarter things to make sure, we're just being smart with what we're doing in risk management, so. So it is recommended to approve membership retention and renewal in SKIP for the time period beginning January 1 to December 31st of 2026 at a base premium of $284,109 and a cyber premium of $60,819.
And with that recommendation, I would entertain a motion that the board approve the membership retention and renewal in SKIP for the time period January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026 at a base premium of $284,109 and a cyber premium of $60,819.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Pritchard, second by Ms. Dixon. Any questions or comments? Dr. Foyd asked if we ever had an issue here. I recall that we had a problem in the boys' gym where the water was actually flowing out into the hallway, into the other gym over Christmas break. And I believe at Lakes, didn't we have moisture in the gym there that raised the floor up in the center?
Yeah.
That came from below. So, I mean, there was moisture, it wasn't the water that was visible, but the moisture raised the wood.
Water feature on the wall when you're.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Both.
So anything's possible. It doesn't have to be a pipe break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
As long as there's no other comments by me or anybody else, I will do a roll call. Starting with Ms. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Simpson,
Yes.
Mr. Pagney, Ms. Dixon.
Yes.
Wayne Sobsek votes yes.
And the last one is capital project update, which really there isn't one because there was no new expenditures and the baseball cage over at Lakes is, weather's still not cooperating, so we're at a standstill, so. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is governance.
First, we have our board calendar, that's next, right? So, students in the audience, you should know this board has been recognized by the ISB, the statewide organization, for its governance. They were selected to present twice the last 2 years at the statewide conference. They were on the cover of the statewide journal this month, top 2 features up here. But one of the things that they're recognized for in their good governance is first, they're valuing continuity and consistency every year, trying to make all of our processes better, and the other thing is transparency. And this calendar is an example. So you'll see in the packet board, this is our annual calendar for the upcoming year. And as you know, we change this as things go. Sometimes we push things back or move things up to make processes go the best. But it's kind of like our major draft outline of when you'll hear presentations, major business office presentations like you just heard from Mary Ann, and governance items when they will come to the board. And this is public to the community on our website. Just click Board of Education. It's like the second link there. It says Board of Education Agenda. So if you're ever curious, like, hey, I really have some thoughts about our science curriculum, I'd like to hear what the board hears about that, you can look on the calendar, and you can see our science presentation is coming up in March, along with Fine Arts, and you can watch that board meeting at home, or you can come watch it in person. So with that, I would ask the board to approve our upcoming board agenda for the upcoming school year, starting next month.
And with that recommendation, I would entertain a motion that the board approve the agenda calendar as presented by the superintendent. Motion by Mr. Pagney,
Second.
second by Ms. Simpson. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call beginning with Ms. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Simpson,
Yes.
Mr. Pagney,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Carroll,
Yes.
Wayne Sobsek votes yes. That motion passes.
Dr. Waller has our next one.
Okay.
So we have a new overnight field trip request that is being actually made in place of one that was approved last school year, that was for a trip to Hawaii. So that trip ended up being canceled due to a lack of interest. And so this new submission is for the Lakes Fine Arts students to take part in the field trip to New York City. This would be in March of 2027 to perform, learn, and experience other cultural enrichment activities. So it is my recommendation to approve this overnight field trip as presented.
With that recommendation, I would entertain a motion that the board approve the overnight field trip to New York City to perform, learn, and experience cultural enrichment. The dates are March 22nd to the 27th of March, 2027. Not this coming March, but the following. Motion by Mr. Cagney, second by Ms. Gibson. Any comments or questions? Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote beginning with Ms. Jacobs. Ms. Ibsen.
Yes.
Mr. Pagney.
Yes.
Ms. Dixon.
Yes.
Ms. Carroll. Abstention. Ms. Pritchard.
For sure.
Wayne Sopsek votes yes. For the benefit of the students, we have 6 yes votes, 1 abstention. The motion does pass.
Next, we have second reading of Board Policy 716. This one, we just changed the name of the person responsible for this policy to Jacqueline Suffrage Hombaker as our new Director of Student Services. So I would ask the board to approve Board Policy 716, reporting IEP to 504 meetings as presented.
With that recommendation, I would entertain a motion that the board approve Board Policy 7:16, recording IEP team/504 meetings as presented. Motion by Ms. Pritchard. Second by Mr. Pagney. Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Roll call, Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
Mr. Pagney.
Yes.
Ms. Dixon.
Yes.
Ms. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard.
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs. Ms. Thompson votes yes. That motion passes.
The next one is a regular item we bring periodically, and that is to destroy verbatim records from the prior period, and we're requesting approval of destruction of records prior to May 2024 under the Illinois Records Act. So I would recommend the board approve destruction of verbatim records prior to May 2024 as recommended.
With that recommendation, I would entertain a motion the board does approve the destruction of the verbatim records prior to May 2024 as recommended by the superintendent. Motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Mr. Pagney. Questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call beginning with Mr. Pagney.
Yes.
Ms. Dixon.
Yes.
Ms. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard.
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs. Ms. Ibsen.
Yes.
Wayne Sopsek votes yes. That motion passes.
Next, we have the approval of a new club, Black Student Union. Black Student Union has actually been a club for more than the 2 years we asked clubs to run without any kind of stipend. But it's really ramped up the last 2 years. You can see in their description the tremendous activities that they've engaged in as clubs between the 2 schools, movie nights and field trips and after-school activities and education and awareness events. So this is a club open to all students to celebrate Black heritage and history. So with that, I would recommend the board approve one new club, Black Student Union, BSU, at both ACHS and LCHS.
And with that recommendation, I would entertain a motion the board approve one new club, Black Student Union, BSU, at both ACHS and LCHS as recommended. Motion by Mr. Pagney,
Second? Oh,
second
yeah,
by
yeah,
Ms.
go for it.
Pritchard.
It's okay.
Okay, well, you have an opportunity for questions or comments.
I have a question. So it's been in existence for 2 years, but you have to reapprove it, or?
No, it's never been approved. So for a form, this is just approving it as a club that will receive a stipend now. So we've had staff members that were doing this just as a volunteer. So with all of
Gotcha.
our clubs.
Oh, okay.
A lot of clubs start that way without a stipend person, but there will be a staff member that's, kind of spearheading it, leading it in the right direction. When they get enough people that are interested, then they ask administration for a possible stipend sponsor.
Because it becomes very viable.
Yeah.
Very active.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll do roll call beginning with Ms. Dixon.
Yes.
Ms. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard.
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs. Ms. Ibsen.
Yes.
Mr. Pagney. And Ms. Sopsek votes yes. That motion passes.
Next, we have press policy issue 120. So once again, I would like to thank Sandy and Bruce for their time doing a deep dive with me several weeks ago, before we did our first reading where we had discussion. So this is second reading now, so I would recommend that the board approve press 120 as presented.
With that recommendation, I would entertain entertain a motion that the board approve Press 120 as presented by the superintendent. Motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Ms. Jacobs. You got that one this time. Any questions or comments? That was a long one. Press 120 is a long one. Any questions, comments, or concerns? If not, we'll do a roll call vote beginning with Ms. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Simpson.
Yes.
Mr. Pagny.
Yes.
Ms. Dixon.
Yes.
Ms. Sopsek votes yes, that motion passes.
Ready for superintendent's
We're
report?
ready for superintendent's report.
Great. Before I turn over to the student ambassadors, I just want to thank them, because since the last board meeting, all 4 of them made time to meet with me at their schools, and we kind of conspired about our planning to collect some student voice about our portrait of graduate competencies as we lead up to those meetings in March and April. So we have these big community meetings planned in March and April. If you're watching at home, there's a form online for you to sign up if you want to be part of those. And our student ambassador is going to help collect that student voice between now and then, our 6 competencies, and then hopefully grab the mic during those meetings and share their thoughts. So
And
thanks
for-
for planning with me.
And for the students that stayed, now you can hear your colleagues speak.
Yeah. So who wants to go first? Antioch Lakes?
Let the visitors go first.
All right, visitors.
All right, for the wrestlers, varsity boys wrestling is slowly finding their groove, all while girls varsity wrestling continues to wrestle well, as the girls placed first in the 2nd annual Lake Snow Brawl tournament on December 19th. The ladies have an undefeated NLCC record after last week's win over North Chicago. The boys and girls wrestling teams wrestle tonight as they host Antioch for senior night. The cheer and dance teams for both Lakes and Antioch hosted the 4th annual All of the Lights cheer and dance competition over the weekend, with 104 cheerleading routines and 68 dance routines. This competition is one of the biggest in the state. Lakes varsity cheer team took 6th place overall on Saturday and are preparing for their NLCC invite this Friday. The dancers performed well too at All of the Lights competition and will spend this week getting ready for their NLCC invite on Friday as well. Boys basketball has done really well as well. They are currently tied for first in the conference with Grays Lake Central. Over winter break, the team attended a 6-day-long tournament with some of the top basketball teams in the state. They have a new record of 9-7 after defeating Antioch this past Saturday with a score of 55-50. Some key players to this success include Ben Newcomb, who averages over 20 a game. Other players include Dorian Pullen, Carter Martin, and Aiden Hopkins. The boys basketball team hosts the annual Martin Luther King Jr. tournament this weekend with 7 different teams from around the Chicagoland area and are looking forward to improving their strong record.
So for activities at Lakes, first I want to start off with how Lakes held our annual open house for incoming freshmen on Tuesday night. The class of 2030 is over 300 students. Families attended a welcome session with the Lakes principal team. The rising freshmen could also meet up with the counselors to ask any questions. The field house was busy with different clubs, athletics, activities, fine arts, and curricular departments, all inviting incoming freshmen to see where they could fit. This encouraged incoming freshmen to get involved with the school and gave them a chance to see all that Lakes has to offer in addition to academics. Clubs ranging from Lakes Women in Leadership to Student for Science and NHS. Athletics like flag football, wrestling, and golf were all present. We had over 80 tables of information. Also, next week we have a Winter Wonderland Spirit Week that will end with a school pub assembly on Friday. Also, on the 23rd, student council has put together a casual winter dance after a boys basketball game. It's free admission. Free candy drinks will be provided along with traveling Tom's coffee at an additional cost. This is open for all students as is encouraged by the student council to attend. Also, Dylan DeWitt, also known as Gopher, the district's honor of being selected for the All-State Video Production Newsies, which performed in January at the ISU. He was part of the singing crew, so he was responsible for building the set and then doing the show. He moved the set pieces as well and was the biggest set high schoolers have managed. Our Eagle Theater students traveled to All-State for 2 days of conferences and workshops as well as to cheer on Gopher. Also, Eagle Theater has really been focusing on the upcoming musical Matilda, by hosting every day after school, making the sets and knowing the lines and choreography. Opening night is February 20th at 7 p.m. with following shows over that weekend and the following weekend. This is a huge annual production with a teachers working backstage and on the stage.
Thank you.
So we can get started with some athletic updates from Antioch. Over break, the ACHS boys basketball team traveled to Kingstown, Indiana to play in a tournament with some games held in the gym from the movie Hoosiers. It was a great experience for the team to play the sport that they love in such a historic venue.
And then also over break, the girls basketball team went to Lyle and the boys competed again in Elgin. It was a bit of a quiet break in the world of athletics, and all sports picked up again when we came back. We will have plenty to report about next month, as January and February are very busy months.
On Tuesday this week, we welcomed the ACHS class of 2030 for our upcoming ninth grader night. It was really well attended and showcased the academics, athletics, and activities that we have to offer to school. It was great to see our students answering questions from parents and peers about their experiences in sports, clubs, and activities.
Our theater department traveled to Illinois State University on Thursday and watched the Illinois State High School production of Newsies, which featured Sequoia's Caden Felicidad as a member of the pit and John Stahl, who acted as the role of Mush. We're so proud of their performance and dedication to the art.
We are also pleased to announce that the winter play, Junie B. Jones' Don Crook, is scheduled to run next weekend with shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Sunday show is a 2 o'clock show, and all other shows will begin at 7 p.m.
And then mark your calendars, our Booster Club Sequoia Pride will be hosting their primary fundraiser called The Main Event on Saturday, March 7th. The venue will be the Antioch AmVets, and it promises to be a great time and raise lots of money that goes to support experiences for the staff and students of ACHS.
And finally, last Thursday, the juniors took their practice ACT and it went well. Students will have information about their strengths and weaknesses after taking the test. Also, we have partnered with Elevated Minds to provide an ACT prep class that starts the first week in February and will prepare juniors for the test on April 8th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Dr. Berry?
I think we're good.
Awesome.
You did a great job.
Well, you sank one of my battleships, which is to talk about the great 8th grade night at both schools. So thank you, Dr. Berry and Ms. Bowen. You did a phenomenal job. I was at Lakes for that night, and I got to hand out, hot off the press, our career guide. Thank you, Alan, for getting this published for us. This is our first of an annual, so we'll make this better and better as we move forward. But the neat thing about this is Alan worked with the C&I assistant principals and our amazing CTE department chairs to pick, like Illinois has more pathways than this. They narrowed it down to pathways that we really offer freshman and sophomore year, because we didn't want to promise kids career pathways that they couldn't take. So when you look through here, the data for salaries and the data for job growth is specific to Lake County. So kids coming in as 8th graders can kind of look at a couple different career pathways, and as they pick their electives, pick a pathway that interests them. And then when they look on that page, when you look there, it says courses available. It's got related clubs or activities. Those are actually things that are at our 2 high schools. So it's not like general data. It's like that club actually exists. Those courses actually exist. So thank you, Alan, and our amazing assistant principals and CTE DCs.
Yep.
Fantastic.
And lastly, I know we have a huge viewership at home, so everybody at home, mark your calendars. March 17th, April 14th are those 2 big community meetings to work on our portrait of our graduate and our strategic plan. So you can still sign up. That deadline has not passed. I think it's February 20th. So look in your link. I'll put it in the January 5-minute update email if you missed it in my last one. And that is all I have.
Okay, thank you. This opportunity is now given to the board members to make any comments or ask any questions or make any statements. Anybody? Everybody's quiet tonight because it's cold? I understand. So the last thing, thank you all for staying, is our closed session. Closed session is where we as the board members go into a quiet room that's, the doors closed, and we talk about things that we can't talk about in secrecy until we make them public. And there are things in the law that we can do that under. So I will make the statement, and then when I'm done, we will go to closed session. You're welcome to stay, but most people leave after that. We do come back into open session, and we will probably take action on one of the items that we talk about in this statement that I'm making, okay? So at this point, it's recommended that the board enter into closed session for the purpose of discussing the following exceptions to the Open Meetings Act. These are exceptions to our open meeting, because now it won't be open. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an independent employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act, which is Act 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Second would be student disciplinary cases, which falls under 5 ILCS 120/2C9. Also would be third, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed, which falls under 5 ILCS 120/2C21. And finally, or not finally, one more, security procedures, school building safety and security, and the use of personnel and equipment to respond to an actual or threat or a reasonably potential danger to the safety of employees, students, staff, the public, or public property, which falls under 5 ILCS 120/2C8. And finally, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, which falls under 5 ILCS 120/2C2. I would entertain that motion. Motion by Mr. Pagny,
Second.
second by Ms. Pritchard. We'll do a roll call vote, beginning with Ms. Pritchard.
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs. Ms. Ibsen.
Yes.
Mr. Pagny.
Yes.
Ms. Dixon had to leave at 7:45, family emergency. Ms. Carroll.
Yes.
And Wayne Sobczak votes yes, that motion passes. We will now go into closed session. And everything I said doesn't mean that there's something wrong. It's just all-inclusive, and I say it every meeting. So we might talk about one little thing in one of those topics. And we might just discuss it and say, guess what? Got a little security. We're going to add a little security we're thinking about, or something like that, okay? So thank you for sticking around, and I'll make sure you all get A's. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability.
Thanks for sticking around, guys. Ladies, thank you.